Back to the Neil Haley Show. I'm excited to welcome to the program my co-host, Paul Hollis, author of the Hollow Man series and owner of Hollow Man Publishing and also American Made VA. Paul, how are you? I know you're excited about your guest. I guess we're reminiscing here the IBM days, but it's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm always interested in consulting because those are the guys that really are the people. I'm looking at it in a lot of ways for myself. What's my next business coach going to be? Because if you don't have mentors, you don't have other people with other eyeballs on your business or anything, you're going to fall flat through the cracks because they're the experts. Go ahead and introduce our guest.
Really pleased to announce a very old friend and associate, Alec Hudnut. He is a managing partner of Vici, which is a earnings growth consulting firm. So welcome, Alec. Good to see you.
Thank you, Paul. It is good to see you again as well.
All right, Alec.
Happy to be on the show.
So, Alec, here's my question for you. Kind of define who your customers are, who your clients are, and who you guys serve.
So we have two businesses at our firm. We serve profitable clients who are seeking to grow their operating income. And in that line of business, our value proposition is within 2 to 3 years, we can grow operating income by 25%. And those can be in clients as small as 100 million in sales up to 50 billion plus in revenue. Our specific clients at the companies are usually the CEO or the CFO or a divisional head in a very big company, somebody who runs a $3 billion division. So that's one business offering of Vici Partners. And the second is our turnaround services. So for companies that are in distress situations where a debtor might come into possession of the company soon, where they're about to miss covenants, where they're losing money, we, in 6 to 9 months, will take the company from losing money to breaking even. And we do that in a couple of different ways. Often we sit alongside management and the board and help them get the company profitable and back on track. And sometimes we come in and we run the business for the owners, and we take on the executive roles and get the company back to profitability. So two lines of business: companies that are profitable, helping them be more profitable in a short period of time. And then second business, companies that are distressed, helping them get out of the woods and get back to profitability.
See, I'm really interested in all this. The more and more I'm becoming an entrepreneur, having multiple businesses, looking at, a lot of companies I'm looking to work with now are startups to kind of take them from zero to hero in certain aspects. They're having trouble with their sales. They're having trouble with their marketing. We come in as my agency and help them in that end, but also my brain of a sales guy. But when you look at these companies, they're already profitable, high level profitability, right? How do you serve them to spot these things to increase their overall bottom line? What are the issues you spot as a consultant most of the time that people just don't understand? Instead of bringing someone like you you're a managing consulting firm, like in that one show on HBO, or is it almost like that in a way? Remember that guy that was, I forget the name of it. It was Showtime. They were management consultants. They come into these big companies. Huh?
We are a management consulting firm. We're not like the guys on the show or some of the bigger players because we think that a lot of times that methodology doesn't work. So to answer your question, we have a couple of unique perspectives on management consulting. First of all, there are no junior people in our company. Everybody is 40s, 50s, 60s. They've been CEOs, CFOs. They run businesses. They've been partners in other consulting firms. And we really believe that when you have senior people who've done this 20 times before, that you're going to get a better, faster, cheaper answer for your clients. So senior people is one. The second is we are better, other than this podcast where I'm talking fast, we are better listeners than talkers. Because the answer, if you try and impose an answer on a company, a lot of times it doesn't work. But if you listen, the answer usually lies inside of the business anyways.
Right.
And, if you're talking to somebody, I remember one client talking to somebody in accounts receivable who worked across the 7 different regions. And she pointed out that the pricing for this one product was the same in six regions, but different in the 7th. And she said, I don't know why it's lower in the seventh. And I said, I don't know why either. Let's go figure it out. So it was her idea. We went and figured it out. And it was just that seventh division hadn't, updated their government CMS guidelines on the pricing of this particular medical product. And they were allowed to charge X, and they were charging the old price, which was X minus 10%. And so she made this one change in pricing with the CFO's consent. It saved the company $400,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
So inside of companies, there are hundreds of things like that. And so our first approach is always look, listening, and feel like a good doctor. Get out there, listen to what the employees think, what suppliers think, what customers think. You're going to get thousands of ideas and be able to implement a couple hundred. And then the second stage is, we have our own playbooks that Vici Partners has developed over the years. So if we're working in a call center, we've got, here are the 20 ways to improve CSAT and to cut costs. And if they're not doing a couple of them, we'll talk to them about how we've seen other companies approach it, how our playbook works, and then we'll jointly design the initiative with them so that it's their idea, not our idea, right? The more it's their idea, the more likely it is to stick, the more likely it is that the earnings are going to improve because of it.
I am so intrigued by what you do. Because I love that show. I forget the name of it. And then it literally was not free on Amazon at the end. It'll come to me in a second. Paul, you remember that show? It was on Showtime or HBO about management and consulting. It was pretty kind of in your face, but ultimately the problem is bigger companies don't really know the bottom line of everything that's going on. Am I correct?
They don't, and they shouldn't, right? If you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, guess what you're paying attention to? The biggest customers, companies you can buy, the board, your personal brand, your direct reports, capital raising, buying another company. That eats up all your time. And so what I've run, this is my fourth company I'm running, right? The people on our team have run a bunch of businesses. So when clients hire us, it's like they're getting 6 to 8 CEOs who can I think
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, what the CEO would do if he or she wasn't doing the other things that were more important. So we go out and listen. And we develop initiatives jointly with frontline people.
I was listening to Marketing School podcast, Eric Sue and Neil Patel. I'm big fans of theirs. And they basically talked about one of them, Eric Sue's big about hiring coaches. I mean, a consultant's almost like a coach, hiring somebody to learn from. And some people hire them in specific areas of the company, something marketing, something this. Do you guys specialize in a specific operations area? If it's operations versus marketing versus sales team or all those areas, because make a quick change to your operations. It could, for a big company, that could be a lot of money. And even for a small company, for people that could not, not your ideal customer, but ultimately they can learn from someone like you, because ultimately any business should be run almost the same way as any business, from big to small in so many ways. It's just about how you look at your resources. A lot of people spend their money on marketing or sales, and they forget about operations, customer service, so you kind of look at all the areas, right? And do each one of you guys
all the areas
specialize in what area is the best?
We look at all areas, and we find more opportunity usually in bigger companies, because the more layers you have in a company, the farther the CEO and the executives are from what's actually happening. That can create problems in companies, right? When, like if you've built a company yourself and you're the owner and it's a $50 million business, guess what? You know almost everything that's going on. But if it's a $5 billion company and you've been the CEO for 3 years, you don't, and you're
a hired CEO, you're not the founder. And you see a lot of the founders when they leave and it's bought, then you lose a lot of the whole reason of the business, right?
You can, founders can be incredibly important and valuable to a business, and without them, you would have nothing. And then on the other side of the coin, founders tend to like to make all the decisions themselves, and that creates a culture that doesn't allow 1,000 flowers to bloom. It's only the ones that they happen to be watering. right? So, it depends on the founder.
All right, Alec, best place people can find information. And you're looking for Fortune 500 CEOs. Is that pretty much the people listening on, especially on, yeah.
Any CEOs with companies of $100 million or greater. So we go all the way down into the mid-market. A lot of our turnaround work is in the mid-market. So if you run a company or are an officer in a company $100 million or greater, we'd be interested in talking to you. You can look at our website, which is vicipartners.com, VICI partners.com, or you could email me, which is ahudnut, AHUDNUT at vicipartners.com. And I'd love to talk to folks if they're interested.
All right. You sound exactly like, but you're not taking over the company like Alex Hormozi's doing. I bring up these different people because I'm intrigued by business. Businesses, especially at this time when lots of people are selling businesses and lots of people are buying businesses, it's got to be a busy time for you, Alec, for sure. What's happening?
It is. And it's also more difficult and more expensive to raise debt. And so companies, the way they can raise debt is to improve their profits so that they can more easily get loans or afford the higher interest loan payments. So we have a lot of work these days.
Appreciate it, Alec. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just